Any hand, please? Oh, no one. I'll call names, so you know your names are here. Oh, okay, there's one hand up. Yes, Francis. Please, you have the floor. Francis, also answer. Where are you joining us from, and why did you choose to join us today? Mr. Francis, please, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, I'm joining you from Kede Senior High Technical School in the Eastern Region.
Wow.
I'm a dietitian by profession, and as soon as I saw the post, in fact, I was interested to know what is actually happening. In fact, these days, labelings of foods and other things, you can't trust the source. So I'm here to have an insight of whatever is happening around the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for setting a very good pace of an interactive meeting that we hope this would be. And so to make it official and just to stick by our time schedule, let's just go straight ahead and take a poll. So you too, if you've chosen not to speak, you have the opportunity to tell us where you are joining us from and then why you've joined us. So I'm going to launch a poll right now, and let's all try our best to respond to the poll so we continue. Thank you. So the poll is up. Let's kindly respond and then proceed. Thank you. Great. I see amazing responses here. Also, you all wanted to talk by using polls. But today we are going to do a lot of verbal talking, so please be prepared. We still have about 10 of us who haven't completed the poll. Please do so and let's proceed. After our poll, we'll be taking our official welcome courtesies and then we would proceed. We still have 14 more people. Let's kindly finish up. Okay, so at least we have 70% of participants who have completed the poll. And I could see that most of us, we found the post on WhatsApp groups. Someone shared it on our WhatsApp group and then we found it. And most of us as well, we find the topic to be interesting and we just want to learn about it. Trust me, you're in the right place. You will learn a lot of things about it. And thank you so much for joining in once again. So our poll is over now. Thank you for responding. Great. So we'll proceed right ahead. Just know that you are currently in a webinar, and the webinar is titled Understanding the Importance of Front of Pack Labeling from the Data and Regulatory Perspective. This event has been put together as part of the Healthier Diets for Healthier Lives project, and it is being led by the Ghana Non-Communicable Diseases Alliance, which is part of a coalition of ACTA for Public Health Advocacy. And we are privileged to have you here present. To take our official welcome address all the way from the United Kingdom, the National Coordinator of the Ghana NCD Alliance, Mr. Labram Musa, is joining us live from London. And so he will officially welcome us to the event. Let's give him a virtual clap. I'm giving him virtual claps. Please, let's do same. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. LeBron. Please, you have the floor.
Yes, good day to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so Madam Moderator, I don't want to sound like I have been here for a long time. I just arrived in UK, but of course, let me take the opportunity to welcome everyone and to today's meeting. And as has been said already, the topic of what we are going to discuss here is very clear. Understanding the importance of front and pack labeling, that's the FOPL, from data and regulatory perspective or point of view. So on behalf of the board of the Ghana NCD Alliance and the Secretariat, where I head, and the entire membership of the Ghana NCD Alliance, I wish to welcome all of you to this important webinar that seeks to steer conversation around the importance of front of pack labeling. So of course, we look at it from the regulator perspective, as well as from other evidence-based perspective, just so we're able to get a broader understanding of why we think that front of pack labeling is critical and is very important. It is important for us to know that unhealthy diet represents one of the main modifiable risk factors for non-communicable diseases globally. And as one of the, in fact, the only person who spoke indicated non-communicable diseases are indeed a problem. Front of pack labeling, and we are told, and today we'll hear more, is one of the effective means by which we communicate effectively to our audience and then also to consumers and users of products. Many states and countries have recognized, the fact that key priorities are very important, and they have started implementing public health policies to promote healthier environments and encourage and facilitate better consumer, decisions and choices. In this context, FOPL, which is front of pack labeling, has spread through, especially in Latin America. In fact, they are doing very well when it comes to issues of, front of pack labeling, and other countries as well, as a cost-effective intervention to provide clear and simple information to the population. Indeed, let me say that we have a lot of information or evidence with respect to tobacco control, because in tobacco control, we have front of pack labeling, pictorial health warning on tobacco or cigarette packs, and it's proven to be one of the most effective, in fact, cost-effective, because it doesn't cost countries anything to implement those ones. Or it takes that the industry would have to bear the cost of the printing and everything. Nations, countries only have to develop large warnings just so they are able to protect their citizenry from the scourge of unhealthy commodities. In addition, front of pack labeling is applicable to packaged foods and beverages, especially ultra processed food. And we all know that ultra processed food are now, as you know, are beginning to cause or already are causing a lot of harm, than good to us. So we need to get very much information on those as well. Now, I will not belabor the point because we have our seasoned speakers who will be speaking on various topics. We shall hear from the FDA on what Ghana has done and what Ghana is currently doing or being done around FOPL. And then also we'll also hear from our partners from academia, who will be giving us the facts and figures in terms of the effective implementation of Ghana's FOPL. Indeed, let me say that some studies have been done already in Ghana and locally created evidence to give us some perspective on what the data is telling us as far as front-of-pack labeling is concerned. And we shall also, have a more practical, presentation from a consumer perspective, consumer's guide to understanding the food labeling terminology, because there are many terminologies on our food packages that we don't seem to understand. So we will have the opportunity of getting to know more of them. But more importantly, let me share some of the few objectives that for which the meeting is organized, is to inform participants about the 8D for HF project and what it seeks to do in terms of promoting health for Ghanaians. The meeting also seeks to broaden the knowledge base of participants on Ghana's existing front-of-pack labeling policies and regulations. Also to expose participants to key local evidence on the effectiveness of Ghana's existing front-of-pack labeling. Of course, we also look at other best practices from other countries, because I know there are other countries who have also joined us here today to learn from what Ghana is doing. And then finally, to sensitize the participant on becoming active custodians, and ambassadors of health by paying attention to labeling of food they purchase or consume. Let me just mention some two outcomes. The outcome of the meeting is to generate public understanding and appreciate the importance of and support the objective for which this project is being organized, and then also to ensure that Ghanaians become abreast with the existing FOPL in Ghana in order to look out for reports on compliance, and then also report to the appropriate agencies for non-compliance. I would want to end by saying that the WHO indeed have clearly indicated to us and the rest of the world that front-of-pack labeling is the way to go, and of course it's one of the cost-effective means of protecting consumers and ensuring that consumers take decision that is best of their own interest of what to consume and what not to consume. So to end, I wish this webinar a very successful one, and to also assure you and to inform you that we should get ready, to ask and make all the suggestions and comments that we think will go a long way to address Ghana's, FOPL, and also, the sub-region. So I welcome all of you, the media who have joined us, and then others who have joined us from other parts of the world. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Labram Musa, the Executive Director. Oh, well, you see, I left one of his portfolio out and now it's hunting me. So he, being the National Coordinator of the Ghana NCD Alliance, he also doubles as the Executive Director of Programs for the Vision for Alternative Development. And so if you see him, you are seeing more than one organization. So we are really blessed to receive his welcome courtesies all the way from London. The welcoming is actually making me cold right now. Like I'm feeling the temperature, I'm feeling cold. I know you're also feeling cold in your rooms and in your offices. And thank you so much for accepting this warm compliments from UK. And Mr. Labram, thank you so much for making the time. We know that it's difficult to keep track of both countries at the same time, but you've made the effort to officially welcome us, and we do not take it for granted at all. Thank you so much. I see some comments asking if we are going to share the live recording of the event. Well, let me inform you, as I mentioned, Mr. Labram is also the Executive Director of Vision for Alternative Development, which is called VALD Ghana. And VALD Ghana has a YouTube channel and is hosting the Ghana NCD Alliance. And so this video will be posted on the VALD Ghana YouTube handle. So you can just go on YouTube, search Vision for Alternative Development, follow, subscribe, and we'll be posting the video there for you. Thank you so much for the concerned people that asked about the recording. Yes, we'll proceed right ahead into our webinar. And as you saw through the invitations, we are having seasoned speakers from the University of Ghana School of Public Health and also from the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And finally, our food regulator, the Food and Drugs Authority. And so we'll kick right ahead and take our first presentation. Before we do that, welcoming courtesies made known that we have some media personalities in our midst and would like to acknowledge their presence. So, Mr. Albert Alote, are you able to say hi to us? Mr. Alote, are you here? I see you are unmuted. Well, Mr. Albert Alote is from the Ghana News Agency and he is joining in with us as a media personality. We are thankful for your time. We also have here Mr. Christopher Aticho from Class FM. He's also joining us live. We have Mr. Joseph Adai from Northern Reports. Thank you for joining in. And then we have Nana Adai Mununkum from Adom FM. And they are all joining us to also learn with us, and we cannot leave the media behind in such discussions because they are more like whistleblowers and spokespersons. And so we are glad to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time. We acknowledge your presence. I see, I don't know if you want to say something. Mr. Abdul, would you like to comment? Okay, so we'll move right ahead into our first presentation, and that presentation will be coming from the University of Ghana School of Public Health. And to do as the honors, we have the coordinator for the Healthier Diets for Healthier Life, Healthier Diets for Healthy Lives project, which we shorten as HD for HL project. And he would be doing us the honors of giving us a background to the project itself. You may wonder what HD for HL is all about. He'll give us a brief background to it and also serve as some of the data that is available that speaks on the essence of FOPL policies or front of pack labeling policies. I'd like to introduce briefly to you, Mr. Gideon. He has an academic training in biochemistry, cell and molecular biology, and holds a Master's of Public Health degree from the University of Ghana. He's a food systems researcher and he's passionate about empirical data. He has worked with the School of Public Health, University of Ghana on several internationally funded research projects, which is usually based on food environment studies. Yes, so he's worked on the meals for NCD. He's currently working on HD for HL. He worked part-time on advocating for health. He has done a lot of international projects, which were all around food environment. So his research experience and interest focus on nutrition and diet-related NCDs. I think he's in the best capacity to give us this presentation. And with a virtual clap, let's kindly welcome his presentation. Please make sure you clap. Oh. Yes, Mr. Amevinya, Gideon Amevinya, you have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliet. Please, can you hear me? It's raining heavily here, so I'm wondering whether mine might be better. But if you can hear me, you can confirm that to me. Okay, so.
Yes, we can hear you.
So give me a minute to. Okay, so thank you, Juliet, and once again, good afternoon to everyone present here. As mentioned, my name is Gideon Amevinya, and I work at the School of Public Health, University of Ghana. The coordinator for the HD4HL project. And today I'll be making two different presentations. The first presentation is going to provide you an overview of what the HD4HL project is. Then the next presentation, I'll proceed to tell you more about the data that we have with regards to front of pack labeling. So if you permit me, I will just begin sharing my slide. Please, can you still hear me? I don't seem to be hearing myself here.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. So if you can hear me, so like I mentioned, through this presentation, I'll be introducing to you the HD4HL project, and also if time permits, I will give a brief implementation updates with regards to what we have been doing this far. So about the HD4HL project, the acronym HD4HL project, I'm sure most of you have seen it somewhere, and even Juliet of Mr. Ibrahim during his presentation has mentioned it. But the actual project title is Developing Evidence and Action Towards a Double Duty Food-Based Policy Bundle to assure healthier diets in Ghana. So by double duty food-based policy bundle, we are referring to a group of policies that have the potential to simultaneously reduce the risks of both undernutrition and overweight and other diet-related non-communicable disease. So that is what we mean by double duty food-based policy. So from this project title, we codename it Healthier Diets for Healthy Lives project. So HD4HL project for short. We've received financial support towards the implementation of this particular project from the International Development Research Center, that is IDRC Canada, together with the Rockefeller Foundation. This project is a 3-year project which started in February last year. We have in the person of Professor Amos Lah, a professor of public health nutrition at the School of Public Health, University of Ghana, as the project principal investigator. Regarding the project implementation, the HD4HL project is co-implemented by a coalition of government agencies, and this includes the Ministry of Health, the National Development Planning Commission, and the Ghana Food and Drug Authority. We also have academia led by the University of Ghana, and also, a coalition of artists for public health advocacy, a group of civil society organizations coming together, and they are referred to as CAPA. Now, the overall objective of the HD4HL project. So the objective is to build, so it's actually a long objective, so you can just hear me. So it's to build evidence and mobilize stakeholder actions towards a double duty, a policy bundle for healthier and more equitable consumer food environments. That at the end will help reduce the double burden of malnutrition. With regards to the specifics, the projects aim to develop and validate a fit for local purpose nutrient profiling model. So a nutrient profiling model basically classify or rank food according to their nutritional composition. So once the nutrient profiling model is developed, the interest is that it will be used to develop a set of food policies. So currently, the policies that we are considering and are being developed are one, food marketing restriction policy, which will aim to regulate marketing of food and beverages in order to reduce exposure to unhealthy foods and also protects our children from the harmful effects of unhealthy food marketing. The second policy and development is what we refer to as front of pack food labeling policy. And this will enable or help consumers to select healthier food products and also provide them with better understanding as to what they are consuming. The third is food-related fiscal policies. And this will aim to promote healthier diets by imposing what you refer as taxes on healthy food options to increase their prices, and therefore will have a decrease in their purchase and consumption, and also introducing subsidies on healthy foods to encourage their consumption. The last but not least is public food procurement and services policies. So this policy, when developed, would require government setting criteria for food served or sold in public spaces. For example, at the ministries, hospitals, and even at the prisons, to be purchased that are even purchased with government money to be towards healthy food. So broadly, these are the four basic food policies the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Health and partners are considering and developing through the HD4HL project. So on this slide, using the background, we generated a working framework which begins with the development of a nutrient profiling model. And like I mentioned, once we have that, it will be used to underpin the development of the food-based policies that I mentioned earlier. Once these policies are developed and implemented, our working hypothesis is that it will lead to an improved food environment, and an improved food environment will also lead to an increased consumption of healthy food, also decreased consumption of unhealthy foods, and then leads to an improved health and nutritional outcome, which ultimately will lead to healthier lives. So towards achieving the project's broad objectives, we have four work packages. The first one is focused on work package 1, which is focused on generating evidence. So evidence that to be used in the implementation of other activities of the project. So this work package includes the conduct of rapid reviews, test reviews, and various policy analysis works. For example, we have the one on political economic analysis, and another also on the legal analysis. So work package 1 is mainly focused on landscaping and generating of evidence and to be used in the course of the project. Going to work package 2, this second one package is focused on compiling an up-to-date food composition data for food products found in our food outlets. So for example, in our supermarkets, in our normal markets. And then we'll then use that in the development of the nutrient profiling model for Ghana. As I noted earlier, once the nutrient profiling model is developed, to then be used to underpin the development of the four policies I mentioned. So work package 3 is focused on the development of the four food-based policies. And then moving to work package 4, from the beginning of the projects to the end, we have civil society and academics contributing through advocacy and school activism. So this is work package 4. So advocacy works and also there's the general public. So the next few slides, I will provide a very summarized update on what we have done so far. So with regards to project implementation, in March 2022, that's last year, we had the Minister for Health participate at the launch of the project, and he officially launched the HD4HL project. The project since then has been working, and the project team developed a number of project supporting documents, and this includes the terms of reference document and other guiding principles and framework documents that will be used to guide the implementation of the project. Again, various project committees were also constituted. So we have the project advisory committee. We also have a project multi-stakeholder technical task team, and we also have various subcommittees, or what you could refer to as technical working groups formed for each of the 4 policies. So this specifically on a work package 1, which is focused on generating evidence. This work package is led by the University of Ghana. And these are some of the rapid reviews that are being conducted. I won't go through all of these. The slide will be shared after, so you can go through the various evidence being generated. Currently, some of them are completed, and a number of them are near completion. So as and when they are completed, we always have access to them. So this is also some of the landscaping analysis, and this focus mainly on policy analysis. So on work package 2, we have the Food and Drug Authority and the University of Ghana co-leading this work package. The 2 main activities, that is the compilation of the food composition data and the development of the nutrient profiling model, is ongoing. And as I speak, we have a team of research assistants on the field collecting such data from supermarkets and other food outlets. Again, we have a subcommittee or a technical working group that has been formed, and they are also providing technical guidance on the development of the nutrient profiling model for Ghana. On work package 3, like I mentioned, we have the Ministry of Health, but also the National Development Planning Commission co-leading the implementation of this work package. So for each of the 4 policies that are under development, we have technical working groups that have been formed for each of the policies, and they meet monthly to provide technical. Sorry. They meet monthly to provide technical input in the development and drafting of the policies. So that is a work package 3. Again, work is ongoing. On work package 4, which has to do with the advocacy work and sensitization work, the coalition of civil society organizations and actors have been formed. And these include members such as the Ghana NCD Alliance, also the Ghana Public Health Association. We also have the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. We also have INSLA, Sontaba, and also Ganyo. So the coalition members currently, as well as their partners, their capacity are being built to sensitize the general public about the food-based policies that we are developing and its contribution to assuring a healthy consumer food environment. And also to advocate for policymakers and also to decision makers to not just develop policies, but also develop equitable and gender fair policies for all. So that is work package 4. So again, activities are ongoing, and today's webinar is one of the sensitization activity that is being conducted by the Ghana NCD Alliance. So in brief, this is an overview of the HD4HL projects, and you can read more about the projects on the project website. So the hd4hl.org, and also you could contact the project secretaries via the project email on your screen. Thank you, and over. Hi, Juliet. Hello, Juliet.
Yeah, she's coming. Okay, so thank you very much, Gideon, for the presentation. Did you say you have combined both, or you'll be having the next presentation?
Mr. Labron, I can hear you. I can hear you talking, but I can't really hear you well.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that yes. Are you? Did you combine the presentations, or you are done with one?
Okay. So this is the first presentation that has to do with the HD4HL project. So I don't know whether there are some questions, or you want me to proceed with the second presentation that focus on the front of pack.
Yes, yes. So please kindly do that because of time. So at least we
Okay.
can combine and put together. Thank you very much.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes, please go on.
Okay. Okay. So please, if you can confirm that you can.
Yes.
We can see.
Hear me.
Gideon, yes, Gideon can hear you.
Okay.
Please
Sorry,
proceed
it's
then.
raining heavily here, so I'm not even able to. All right. So this second presentation will focus on front of pack labeling. Actually a type of a nutrient or nutritional labeling, and I will. So now, by way of providing a background to this presentation, Mr. Labram has already said a lot. It's well.
Yeah, Gideon, your line is breaking now.
And the situation is.
Hello, Gideon.
Hello.
Gideon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you also hear me?
Yes, but it's not so clear. But go ahead, I'll prompt you if it's breaking.
Okay. So I was saying, like, by way of background, we all know that non-communicable disease is increasing almost everywhere, and especially on diet-related non-communicable disease. The situation is not so different in Ghana. Our food environments are changing rapidly, and at the same time, it's providing us with more food options. And prepackaged foods and beverages have become now readily available in our markets and even in our food outlets. Um, most of these prepackaged foods are mostly industrialized, like processed foods, and normally high in nutrients of concern. So that is referring to free sugars, sodium, and unsaturated fats. So this kind of foods are now dominating our food environment, even though we know that the consumption of high levels of these foods, high in these nutrients of concern, are linked to the increased risks of obesity, overweight, and diet-related non-communicable disease. So in the face of this challenging food environment, leading international health organizations like the WHO have called out governments to introduce policy measures that can guide consumers to make informed food procurement or food purchasing decisions. And this includes informative or food labeling policies. So what is food labeling? While spraying these slides, I did a little search, and one of the internationally accepted definition I came across was on the Food and Agriculture Organization website. And it's defined food labeling as any tag, brand, mark, pictorial, or any descriptive matter written, printed, stenciled, marked, embossed, or impressed, or attached to a container of food or food products. So basically, they are informative information presented on food products as a means of communicating information to the consumer, mostly the product identity and content. So in Ghana, our laws provide the Ghana Standard Authority and the Ghana Food and Drug Authority under the Public Health Act to protect and promote public health by ensuring that the food and beverages we consume are safe and also meet the required standards. So on food labeling, we have the general labeling group developed by the Ghana Standard Authority that required food labeling to be informative and also accurate. And also the FDA food labeling, FDA guideline for the labeling of prepackaged food. I won't go much detail into this. Mr. Percy from the FDA will talk more about this standard and guidelines in his presentation. However, an example of food labeling includes the ingredient information and the nutrition information found on the back or side of the prepackaged food products. So food labeling can be done at any part of the product, be at the back of the product or the front of the product. And most of us will usually look out for expiring dates, mostly at the back of the food products. But we all know that almost everyone, when buying a product, pay attention to the front of pack, where you normally see the name or brand of the product written boldly. So therefore, if we have a policy that focuses on the front of pack food labeling to help consumers to select healthier foods and know what it is in their food products, the food product that we consume, that could be a very big game changer. So the WHO consider front of pack food labeling as a nutritional label.
Hello, Gideon. Hello. Please, can anyone hear Gideon? I can't hear him.
I think I've lost him too. I can't hear him.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
I'm sure he's
you can
having
hear
internet
him.
challenges. Okay, please, let me reach out to him and I'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Yeah, Juliet.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Ram.
You continue engaging him, and I will check on him and continue engaging the platform.
Okay, so I've already seen the first question in our chat box. Maybe we'll try and talk about that as we wait for Gideon to join again. Someone is asking that, is front of pack labeling policies targeted at imported foods or locally manufactured foods? Well, I think this question, if I'm being honest, goes to FDA. But I don't know if Madam Maureen will want to respond now or would want to respond to it after her presentation.
Julia, after her presentation, okay, I mean, that'll be fine. Gideon.
Okay, sure. Please, once Gideon is not in yet, and okay, yes, he's back. Hello, Gideon. Can you hear me, please? Hello, Gideon, can you hear me?
Yeah, he says his light went off. He's connecting.
are very sorry about the internet challenges. I believe we all understand that these things happen often. Okay, so as we are still waiting for him, I do not want us to spend so much of our time waiting. And so far we have all heard some of the presentation he has made on front of pack labeling, as well as the projects, the HD for HR project. Does anyone have a question that you want to put up ahead of his joining us? We could put down your questions so that once he joins, he will address those questions and we proceed. Anyone, please? Does anybody have a question for him? All right, then we will hold on with his presentation. Gideon was giving us a presentation on the data evidence on the importance of front of pack labeling policies. And as we wait, we would move on and take our next presentation. And to do as that, Anna, would be Mrs. Maureen Latte, who is from the Food and Drugs Authority. She has joined us. She was actually the first to join, and I'm so glad that she joined us early enough. She is the Director, Food Registration and Applied Nutrition at the Food and Drugs Authority. Please, with a virtual clap, let's welcome Mrs. Maureen Latte to give us her presentation. And she is giving us a presentation on the regulatory perspective of food labeling policies in Ghana. Mrs. Latte, please, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much. Please, I have to share my screen, so if you can please enable that option, please.
Yes, we are ready to go. Thank you. Yes, please, we can see your slides.
Okay. Yeah, so FDA is speaking on food labeling policies in Ghana, the regulatory perspective. So the outline, please, are you seeing it changing?
Yes, please. Yes, we can see you changing.
Okay, thank you.
Please,
so the
outline, give us a slideshow.
Please let me check for it.
Yeah, Ms. Latte, please, we can see your screen. Please, you can proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, yeah. So the introduction is as follows. The outline, sorry, we have introduction, the existing legislation, guidelines, and policies. Then Codex guidelines, which we use in regulation of food and evaluating products with nutrition information. Then we also have results from a research we did, Advert versus NCD research we did. Then the gaps we identified, then the different types of front of package regimes that we have worldwide currently. Then the FDA's role on the healthy diets for healthy living projects. And then we would conclude. Okay, so FDA draws its mandates from Part 678 of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851, and we are talking about food. So food is covered under Part 7. So under Part 7, we have Schedule 4 that talks about standards, guidelines issued by Codex. We also have Section 148 that mandates the FDA to develop guidelines. And then we also have other sections, including Section 107 that talks about mandatory fortification of foods. So we have to ensure that those food products are labeled adequately. So with the existing guidelines and policies we have, we help to enforce the breastfeeding promotion regulations 2000 and LI 1667. So this is basically to protect, promote, and then support breastfeeding by ensuring that there is proper use of the breast milk substitutes when necessary. So we've been doing this over the years. We monitor at the health facilities with Ghana Health Service. Then we also have our enforcement directorates that checks food products in general on our markets and the supermarkets. So they also include the breast milk substitutes. Then we also have the Codex Alimentarius guidelines that pertain to nutrition. We have the Codex guidelines on the use of nutrition and health claims. We have Codex guidelines on claims. Then we also have Codex guidelines on nutrition labeling. So with the nutrition labeling guidelines, apart from the Codex guidelines I have mentioned, we also have the general labeling rules that we use, LI 1541. Then FDA has also developed an in-house guidelines that we use in regulating pre-packed food. It is currently under review. And our guidelines are binding. So they are legal documents and they are binding. So whatever we put in there, we enforce, and if somebody goes contrary to that, we can take the person on. We also have guidelines for labeling of tomato mix. We had to come up with these guidelines because we know there's a new product that came on board some years ago, and we had to be strict with the labeling. So the various percentages of the ingredients, and also ensuring that the product is adequately described. So whoever is buying it would be able to make an informed choice. Then we also have the Ghana standards that we follow. The Ghana standards have sections for description of the products, the labeling side, and then it also has the analysis side, the microbiology, the physiochemical. When it comes to safety, because we have to ensure that the food is safe before we even look at the label. So with safety, we draw our strength from Section 105 of the Public Health Act, Part 7, that talks about ensuring that food is safe and of good quality. So anybody who goes contrary to that violates that session and can be taken on. Then we have the Ghana standards and the code standards so when it comes to safety. We also have the National Food Safety Policy. This policy entails all the agencies that have something to do with food. So along the food value chain from farm to fork. So they all came together and then they came up with this policy. So the policy has all the different mandates of all these agencies and the functions they all perform. So everything is clearly spelled out. And that would help to reduce overlaps to the barest minimum, because we know that usually you may have 2 or 3 agencies doing about the same thing, but this policy has clearly spelled out and everybody knows what they are supposed to do. So FDA just coordinates activities. We also enforce the mandatory falsification of food in accordance with Section 107 of our Public Health Act. The food vehicles we use now are 3. We have wheat flour, vegetable oils, and then salts. So with wheat flour, it's a cocktail of micronutrients, vitamin A and a range of the B vitamins with iron and zinc inclusive. Then with the vegetable oils, it's supposed to be fortified with vitamin A, and then salts with iodine. Over the years, monitoring has slacked a bit, but a few months ago, we were able to revive the monitoring of the salts with iodine. So we had to do a survey to come up with what pertains currently the situational analysis, and we called a stakeholders meeting to discuss the way forward and how we would be able to monitor effectively with our other stakeholders on board. We hope to do something similar with the vegetable oils and the wheat flour very soon. When it comes to adverts, to FDA vets all the scripts to ensure that they comply with the products that have been registered. So we enforce the FDA guidelines for the advertisements of food. So there's also an in-house developed guidelines, which are also legal documents and very binding. FDA also have very vibrant consumer education departments that ensures that the public is well informed when it comes to food safety in general. And then other activities FDA carries out from time to time. And nutrition labeling isn't left out. For now, nutrition labeling isn't mandatory for now, but we are reviewing our guidelines, as I mentioned earlier, and we are incorporating it, because if we have to enforce the front of pack labeling information, then it would have to be made mandatory so that all food products would have the necessary nutrition information, and then we'll be able to guide consumers to make healthier choices when it comes to products to consume. So we are incorporating it into the guidelines we are reviewing it, so the nutrition information will be mandatory. So after we've come up with that, we would certainly hold stakeholders meeting and let the stakeholders know what we are doing henceforth, so that they can also come on board and they will be able to comply. We also do a little research, and then in addition to the consumer education, we do other advocacy activities. So the code monitoring of the breastfeeding code, as I mentioned earlier, we launched the breastfeeding, the World Breastfeeding Week, which we have turned into Breastfeeding Month at the end of August. So as part of the activities, we are doing the code monitoring. It's something which we're doing yearly, but now we want to do it more often so that if there are non-compliances here and there, we'll be able to nip them in the bud. So the code monitoring exercise is ongoing presently. Then I'll talk a bit about the address versus NCD project we did. I'll talk a bit about that in a jiffy. Then we also have a national food-based dietary guidelines. FDA was also part of the team that came up with this, and it was launched earlier this year. Then, of course, we are also part of the Healthier Diets for Healthy Living projects. And then there's also the national NCD policy that came up in 2022. So that was spearheaded by Ghana Health Service. But there's a part on the labeling section. So FDA has to take up that bit, labeling and trans fats reduction. And that focuses on emphasizing labeling to inform consumers to make healthy choices, and then also help to reduce trans fats. So that is the bit that we will do with the national NCD policy. Then we also have the Ghana Trans Fats Acid Elimination Policy Guideline that was also drafted recently, and this was spearheaded by INSEA. So they ensured that all the stakeholders were part of it. So we all came together to draft the policy.
Hello, Mrs. Latte. Ms. Latte, please, are you there? Please, can anyone hear Mrs. Latte? I can't hear her anymore.
She's off.
Okay. It's raining in many parts of Accra, so I'm sure lots of people are having challenges with the internet. Now I think she has dropped off completely. Please, let's exercise some patience. We'll get her on board again. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in the meantime, as we wait, let's take the opportunity to acknowledge some big personalities that have joined us. So I see here, well, this person would speak later on, so I'll still put his name in the fridge. But we have here the former director, technical coordination at the Ministry of Health, Madam Martha Ganza-Lutrots. She has joined us quietly, but we have seen her. Thank you so much, Madam Martha, for joining us. And as we proceed, we would want to hear from you just a bit as we wait. If you can say hi to the many Ghanaians that are here gathered who want to learn more about their health and get to know about front of pack labeling policy in Ghana and global practices. So please, we are in a Zoom with the former technical coordinator for the Ministry of Health, Madam Martha Ganza-Lutrots.
Hello.
Mrs. Latte, you're welcome back. Yeah, Mrs. Latte, please, can you hear me?
And so please, I can continue.
Yes. Please proceed.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Mrs. Latte will just conclude with her presentation quickly in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll be closing very soon. So Mrs. Latte, in the next 5 minutes, thank you.
Okay, so I was on section 8.2 of the guidelines on the use of nutrition and health claims. And it's talking about health claims should not be made if it encourages or condones excessive consumption of any food or discourages good dietary practices. So it is talking about maybe having products that are NCD related, maybe like margarine, and then it being fortified with vitamin A. That is acceptable. It will be on the label, but we will not encourage health claims. The health claims will tell you that vitamin A can do this, vitamin A can do that. So we would not encourage that. Because when you encourage that, then there may be the risk of that product being consumed. So for such products, we will not encourage the health claims. So this is what the codex, this particular codex provision is talking about, helping us to restrict how nutrition labelings are regulated. And then the other one is section 3.4, also under the general guidelines for on claims. So that also talks about a food products not to be used in prevention, alleviation, treatment, or cure of any disease. yes, we know that they are the foods for special dietary users. So for such products, they also help. They don't prevent or alleviate or treat any diseases. They help. So these Codex guidelines helps us to restrict whatever claims people put on their products. So the adverts versus NCD projects we did, it was in two folds. We had to review adverts that we had received over a number of years, and we came up with 3,367 adverts. And out of that, we had 1,945 that were NCD related. That means we receive a lot of products that have to do with high sugar, high salt, and fats. So we had almost 57%, 57.8%. And I mentioned that it was in two folds. With the other section, we had to look at billboards mounted by food service establishments. So these fast food joints and other restaurants, the billboards they usually mount. Usually they are not regulated by LGU. And then we also went into such facilities to interview people and find out the correlation between they seeing adverts, and that pushes them to come and buy products. And we know that for such products, you always have these sweetened beverages by it, and that entices people to buy the product and then have these products. So we came up with some findings that we will be sharing with our stakeholders very soon. Then we also identified some gaps. With our advert guideline, we have food defined as prepackaged food. So that is how come with the food service establishments, the fast food joints and their adverts, we can monitor. As I mentioned, we are reviewing the advert guidelines. So we would incorporate and then expand the definition of food so that it can cover such, and we will be able to monitor all in the name of helping with these NCD related products. And then there are also special provisions in our adverts guidelines, but only two have been captured when it comes to the diet related NCD implicated products. So we have alcohol and energy drinks. With the review guidelines, we are incorporating high fat products, high salt, and then high sugar products, so that we'll be able to get all of them in the web and then regulate to help the NCD issues go down drastically. We also have section 8.13 under the Codex guidelines on claims that has to do with benefits that arise from consuming a reasonable quantity of a food. So we have to come up with what we mean. Usually Codex has these I wouldn't call it too vague, but the country is supposed to come up with its position. So we have to come up with our position on reasonable quantity so that we can be able to use that regularly. So if somebody is consuming a food that has nutrients, supposedly healthy food products, how much of it is the person supposed to consume to be able to benefit from the nutrients in there? Then with the Codex guidelines too, we have low sugar, high energy that haven't been clearly defined. We have others that have been defined, like maybe low sugar, low salt and low energy. We have some that have been defined. So they've been clearly defined and then they have a value. So we use that to regulate by comparing with what clients submit. But with low sugar and high energy, we don't. So we would have to factor it into the review. And then the section 8.2 I mentioned, it talked about a country having a clear national regulatory framework for qualifying or disqualifying. We don't have that, so we are working on that as well. So with the front of pack nutrition labeling, as the first presenter mentioned, it is to help consumers make informed choices when they are buying products. And apart from it helping consumers to make healthier choices, and we can also foresee it's encouraging industry to reformulate their products, because if everybody is becoming discerning, everybody is making healthier choices, then companies that deal in very high sugar products, high salt, high fats, then they wouldn't have any other choice than to reformulate and then come up with healthier products that would help all of us. And then the front of pack would also help to reduce the normalization we have attached to unhealthy food. In the food environment, if you are in a house or you see these billboards that come with very high energy products, and then you have these sugary products by them, that entices people to buy. So the food environment, and we all see, adults see, children see, so the food environment is becomes unhealthy in such circumstances. But if we have the front of pack, which is clear, it is educating everybody, adults can see, children can also see, then once we are all well informed, we all start making healthier choices, then it would help to reduce the unhealthy nature of the food environments we find ourselves in. So we've been able to identify our 8 major schemes when it comes to the front of pack nutrition labeling. So we'll go through them quickly. The first one is a traffic light. So the traffic light has to do with either the energy alone or the fat, saturated, sugar, salts. And as the name goes, it's the different colors of the traffic light. So we have red, we have yellow, and then we have green. So the green one is the best, the red one is the worst. So with this example, we are seeing very high sugar. So the sugar part has been colored red, and the percentage is 38% of your daily intake. So that means consuming this particular food alone will give you 38% of your daily sugar intake. So this is one of the regimes. We also have the reference intake. For this one, it is non-judgmental because they all have the same color. In this case, it is blue. And then we have the figures of the NCD related, the fats, saturates, the sugars, the salts. So what you'll be able to make out of this is the percentages of the daily intake. So that is not really catchy and not really informative. We also have the Nutri-Score. The Nutri-Score looks at the negative effects of the energy saturates, and then the positive effects of the fruits, vegetables, fibers, protein, and the rest. So it is calculated, and then the score is given. So the example we are seeing is from A to E. So A is the best, E is the worst. So maybe E, if you have maybe a high sugar product, then you fall under E. So with this example, the score came to C. So that means it is in between. It is not very good, it's not very bad, but it is in between. So if you have products that have high fruits, vegetables, nuts, fibers, then that would tilt towards A. So this is also very informative. We also have the Nordic keyhole. The Nordic keyhole is usually placed on only healthy products. That's the less sugar, less salt, less more fiber and whole grains. So it doesn't deal with the unhealthy in quotes products. It only deals with the healthy products. So if you have maybe salt drinks and sweets, they wouldn't have the keyhole. We also have the stop sign warnings. So these ones have to deal with sugar, the saturates, the sodium, and then the high calorie foods. So if you have a product that has high sodium, high sugar, then you have these marks being placed. Then you have two of them being placed. So these are also placed on only the into brackets unhealthy food products. Then you also have the health star rating that rates food from half of a star to a 5-star. So the more stars the product has, the healthier the product is. Then you also have the choice programs that talks about both qualifying and then disqualifying components of still the energy saturates, the sodium, sugars. And that is also usually placed on good products or healthy products. Then you have the healthier choice. The healthier choice has to do more with a country position on nutrients. This was picked from Singapore. Singapore at that time they were having issues with low calcium. So any product that has high calcium and of course low in sugar, low in sodium, trans fat free, and the rest, they would have the healthier choice placed on them. So these are the 8 regimes that we were able to pick up. So Ghana would have to decide which one to go with, depending on the level of education of our people and how we are able to see products and how we appreciate them. So we have to factor all these in for Ghana to come up with a regime that will be catchy and it will be helpful. So the role FDA is playing on the HD4HL project. We are helping to consolidate and update Ghana's food composition table. So we have been able to harness data on labels of pre-packed foods on our market. We went onto the markets, the supermarkets, and then we're able to pick about 11,000 products. But as I mentioned earlier, nutrition information isn't mandatory. So we picked products that had nutrition information. So a number of the imported ones, and then some of the local ones too that have, and we were able to pick the necessary information, the product name, net weight, list of ingredients, the various nutrients they have, the various categories of food products, and we are keying it into a database. We've been able to pick about 11,000. We are still doing it, so we hope to add on. So after all is said and done, then it will be lead to the development of a nutrients profiling model that would help us to also classify food products as healthy and or unhealthy. Then it would help us to be able to do the front of pack nutrition labeling effectively. So as the first presenter mentioned, there are 4 policies. FDA is very much involved into, we have colleagues who are helping to spearhead these 2. So we have the marketing restriction policy, so that we'll be able to come up with a policy and we'll be able to restrict the marketing of these NCD related products. And then we also have the front of pack labeling policy. So there's a team that has been put together. It is being chaired by one prof from University of Ghana. And we have all the stakeholders involved. We even have industry too on board. So they would also decide the front of pack nutrition labeling that would be suitable for Ghana. So in conclusion, FDA, with the support of stakeholders, is really committed to promoting healthy diets and helping to reduce NCDs in Ghana. And nutrition labeling is the way to go. So as I have mentioned, we are incorporating it into our reviewed guidelines so that it will now be mandatory. And then we will be able to do the front of pack labeling effective. So we are eagerly working, as I mentioned, to ensure that we come up with a front of pack nutrition labeling that would be appreciated by all Ghanaians. Thank you very, very much. Over, Juliet.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Latte. That was a very in-depth presentation. We'll move straight ahead into our questioning session. Do we have anybody who wants to ask a question? Please, you can raise your hand if you want to, but in the meantime, I'll read the questions that were placed in the chat box so that Mrs. Latte would respond to them. So, Mrs. Latte, someone is asking that, is front of pack labeling policies targeted at imported foods or local foods as well?
Yes, so there's a new thing we are starting. So we will start with the local. With the imported products, we have a number of them, even having nutrition information. As the local products that we don't have a lot of them having nutrition information, because as I mentioned, it isn't mandatory, but we are trying to make it mandatory. So once it's made mandatory, then we would have the local products also having the nutrition information, and then we'll be able to come up with the front of packers I have mentioned. So we will start with the local and then go gradually into the imported products, because we know that I have shown you about 8 regimes. So these were picked from various countries. Yes, and we know, yes, Ghana is a net importer of food products. And we have a lot of products coming from other countries. So some of them may have their own regime that they are using. Yes, but when we come up with ours, then by and by, we would be able to get into the realm of the imported and then get them to comply with what Ghana will come up with. But we will start with the local. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Latte. We have another question saying, can we conclude that our inability or the non-mandatory nutritional information enforcement is the reason why most consumers make uninformed choices, which leads to unhealthy diets and the promotion of unhealthy eating habits? I think this person asked because you mentioned that front of pack labeling policies help consumers to make informed decisions. Please, your response.
Oh, yes, you are right. If I am buying something and I don't know what I am buying, then whatever is good for my tongue, I buy. And we know most of us like these sugary products, high salt products. So we just go in for them. And now with NCD staring at us in the face, we would want to have a healthier populace. So that is why FD has also gotten on board, and we are coming up with mandatory nutrition information declaration. So once it's declared, and then consumers are educated as to how to make meaning out of it, then we will all be discerning people who will be well informed. Then we would be able to make healthier choices, so that by and by the NCDs will reduce to the barest minimum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Latte, and thank you also for your questions. I think we have one a bit unrelated question, but maybe if you like, you could address it. So someone is asking what regulations are available for herbal bitters. I'm not too sure, but I know that herbal bitters are not considered food. Mrs. Latte, please, your comments.
Okay, yes, herbal bitters. We have alcoholic beverages too that are bitters that also have herbs in them. And then we have the herbal bitters, herbal products that we also consume, which are drugs. So they have the dosage, and we are supposed to go by the dosage. So if we are talking about the herbal bitters, which are supposed to cure and treat ailments. Yes, they are also regulated by FDA, but of course not under food. They are under drugs. And we have strict regulations for them because we find ourselves in an institution where we regulate products which we take or put on our bodies. And these are very high risk products. So if you don't regulate them when somebody consumes any herbal product and there's an issue, FDA will be held liable. So we have very strict regulations in place for herbal products. So please, if you are buying any herbal product, check whether it is registered. If it's registered, we have our number on it. Of course, there may be some scrupulous people who would have some products out there which are not registered. So please check the registration number. Before, if our number is on it, then we can vouch for the safety and the efficacy of such products. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think personally, I would like to ask if is there any place, maybe a website, a source that we'll be able to confirm that this is registered or not?
Yes, we have our website. So for all the products we regulate, food, drugs, cosmetics, household, chemicals, medical devices, we have all of them on our websites and they are updated periodically. So when you go there, you will find lists of products that are in good standing. That means they've been registered. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. So, dear audience, anytime you want to purchase a product and you're unsure about its registration status, you log on to www.fdaghana.gov.gh and you'll be able to find a list of products that are verified. I think we'll take two last questions. I see two last questions, and then we take the final presentation, which I'm sure you'll be very much interested in, because it's coming from a dietitian. All right, so Nana Oforiwa is asking if cosmetic industries. Okay, I think that she has addressed. So yes, FDA has regulations on cosmetics, but they are not under food. And let's try and focus on the food discussion to beat some time. There's also a comment on local foods are prepared in different ways by different people. I'm just wondering, will recipes have to be standardized first before enforcing the labeling? Mrs. Latte, that's our last question.
Yes, we don't veer into recipes. No, I can prepare a fruit drink. You can also prepare yours. We will be using different recipes. They will not taste same. Our mandate is to ensure that the products are safe and of good quality. So we don't veer into recipe. So you can put a concoction together. Once it is safe and it's of good quality, we would register it. And being safe, I mean, we take it through laboratory analysis, so it will be free of all the hazards. Yes, so those are some of the requirements the products are supposed to meet. And then the premises from which the product was churned out also has to comply with good manufacturing practices or good hygienic practices. Yeah, so we don't veer into recipes, no. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. Mrs. Latte, finally, I think the cosmetic question, if you could just add your voice a bit. I mean, recently people are doing cosmetics and most of them are from food ingredients. So like, how is the FDA bridging the gap between cosmetic products and food cosmetic, like a whole lot of scraps and treatments and in the name of cosmetics, and some are supposed to be ingested as food and all of that.
Please, cosmetic is supposed to be smeared on the body, not ingested. What we ingest is food and drugs. So please don't buy any cosmetic that you would have to ingest. Yes, we are aware that some people put things together, and some people, because they want to bleach and be fair, they go and buy those products. Even some pregnant women, we have even had go and buy so that their babies will come out as fair. We have to be careful. We are trying to have a nation of healthy people. So please, Yes, we regulate cosmetics too. We regulate it with all the passion, because somebody smears anything registered on their body and there's an issue, FDA will be held reliable. So we don't joke with that. So whatever recipes they have, putting things, their formulation, the ones that we have registered. So that's why I'm hammering on products that we have registered that have the FDA number, or as Juliet has made reference to our website. If you are in doubt, you just call FDA to find out. So once it is registered, that means we have taken it through that vigorous process of ensuring safety and quality. So please, our doors are always open. We have a client service desk that's always receiving calls and receiving clients and consumers. So
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Latte, for that presentation and responding to our questions. We are going to take our final presentation, which personally I'm so enthused about, because this presentation is going to focus on breaking the codes. It's going to give us a consumer guide on how to Yeah, hello, please, can everyone hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are going to receive a presentation on breaking the codes, a consumer's guide to understanding food label terminologies. So please, let's give Mr. Daniel Mensah a virtual clap as he gives us a 10 minutes. So at 3:56, we'll be done. Thank you so much. Mr. Dan, you have us.
Can you help me with the sharing? Can you make me a co-host so that I can share? Hello, Juliet. I'd like to share, but I am not a host. So, okay, fine. That's wonderful. Thank you. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, 10 minutes. So I'll quickly skim through. So this will be the content of my presentation. So normally, a number of research has been done, like Gideon started sharing during the first presentation. And this very recent one actually reports the fact that quite a number of Ghanaian profess to have some understanding of food labels. However, the understanding of the objective measurement of what the food label is all about, the figures they see, was quite low. And when people say that they understand the food labels or the information on food label packaging, it's mainly the how to call it, manufacturing date and expiring date and what ingredients are in there. And then of course the price tag of the product. But a number of what the nutrients are and what the figures that come along with it, the calories, the servings, are all information that a lot of Ghanaians do not understand. And this study also done by Tando, a dietitian, also reported same, where they also found out that a number of the terminologies were unfamiliar to a lot of their respondents. And then also this work also done, also reported actually a number of respondents didn't even answer the questions that has got to do with their understanding of the food label information, which all give credence to the fact that quite a number of Ghanaians find it difficult to understand the complexities when it comes to food labeling. And so when we talk about food labeling, it's mainly food and packaged food, which normally comes in cans, boxes, bottles, jars, bags, as we normally see on the shelves of a number of grocery shops. However, as Auntie Maureen has given us, there are regulations, especially coming from the FDA, on how such information ought to be presented. It's just that, like she rightly said, there are a number of information that are yet, there are a number of, how do I put it? The way the information ought to be put, especially with the nutrition facts, that Ghana is yet to adopt the one that is most suitable to us. And mainly, this actually makes it that some of the information that are on current processed or packaged foods sometimes are not enough even to make healthy choices. So I was happy to hear that it's something they are working towards. And the other thing is that sometimes these labels can be misleading or difficult to decipher, and that is why we want to see how far we can break down the terminologies this evening. So, like has been shared, the reason why understanding food labels is important is because they provide information that makes consumers make quick and informed food decisions that help them make food choices. And also this information also help them to align their food intakes to their health outcomes. The food safety issues, with regards to whether the food is expired or not, these food labels also help provide such information. And then also, very importantly, consumers are able to identify which ingredients in this food product are potential allergens or could cause some intolerance to them, for which they want to decide whether to use them or not. Now, when you go on our shelves in the supermarkets or the what we call the provision stores or the malls, you normally will see these are the two very common types of nutrition facts that you see on our product. So we have the single column food labels, which are normally on food products that are based on 1 serving, and I'll explain what the serving is, that are based on 1 serving of the food or the beverage. However, if the food is comes in more than 1 serving, such as 2, 3 servings, sometimes you may see the second one, which is the double column food label. And this normally will help you quickly multiply the number of nutrition information here as per the number of servings that you will see on the product. So for every product, we have 4 components of the nutrition facts that you see on the food label. So we have the serving size information components, which is the number 1, as you can see. The number 2 is the calories. Number 3 is the nutrients component of the food nutrition fact, sorry. And then the 4th one is the daily value of the nutrients, of each of the nutrients that we find in, and I'll quickly go through breaking them down. So when we say serving sizes, and I'll be using the information on this label to go through what these terminologies are. So when you say serving sizes, it just reflects the amount of a food or a particular type of food that people generally healthy people normally or typically eat or drink. However, it is not a recommendation of how much one should eat or drink. But what it provides us is a reference point that makes us inform ourselves of how many of the amount of this particular food that we need to consume. So the serving sizes are normally standardized to make it easier for us to compare foods of similar kinds. And so they normally will come in familiar units such as cups or pieces or sometimes particles, and will be measured in their metric amount, either grams or milligrams, as you can see in the picture up there. So the product we are using contains 4 servings in its container, and 1 serving is a cup, which measures up to 227 grams. So the serving size in a particular product normally helps consumers to calculate the amount of calories food that they are consuming at a time, and then also whether or not they are meeting their percentage daily value of the food, or how many or how much quantity of that daily value are they consuming. The second portion is the calorie information. Now, the calorie information provides a measure of how much energy a serving of that food in the container provides to the body once you eat it. So for instance, this particular food that we are talking about, 1 serving contains 280 calories. So that means that if you eat the entire food in the jar, which contains 4 servings, so that means that you'd have eaten 280 calories times the 4 serving, giving you 1,120. Now, for a normal healthy adult without any disease condition or having normal general socio-demographic parameters, you are expected to consume at least 2,000 calories a day. So if you just ate this whole jar of this product containing 4 servings, then that means just at a sitting, you've exceeded more than half of your calories. And so these ideas will help you know whether you are over-consuming or under-consuming a particular food product as against your total calories per day. So like we said, the number of servings that we consume will help us, or normally help us determine the number of calories we actually eat. Now, if you take too much of the calories at a time, then you're increasing your risk of overweight or obesity, which also increase your risk of NCDs. Now, the next one has got to do with the nutrients part, which is the third part. Now, this section lists the nutrients that impact on your health. And so we have 2 groups of nutrients in this section of the nutrition fact. We have the ones that promote healthier or promote health. So we call them the nutrients that we need to take more of. And then we have those that are injurious to our health when we take them beyond moderation, and therefore we need to take less of them. And I'll take them quickly one by one. So we have those ones that we need to get less of, which are normally the saturated fat, the sodium or salt, and then the added sugar. So for the fat, we are not saying that all fats are bad, because not all fats are bad. However, our focus when it comes to food labels like this is the saturated fats and then the trans fats, which if one consumes more than is expected, then of course you have increased risk of cardiovascular diseases and high blood pressure. So when you take the total fat, for instance, when one consumes more than 17.5 grams of fat for every 100 grams of the food in the container, then you are consuming high amount of fat. And that could be injurious to your health as far as NCDs are concerned. But if you are taking 3 grams or less, then you are consuming lower level of it, and then that is healthier for you. So that means that you are taking it in moderation. So our main focus, like I said, when it comes to fat is the saturated fat and the trans fat. So for saturated fats, when you exceed 5 grams of saturated fats, and these are fats that you normally get from animal products, like, you know, the fats that's attached to your meat or fish, and then the trans fats, normally you get it from overly burnt fried foods or oils. So when you exceed more than 5 grams of the saturated fat for every 100 grams, then you are taking high amount of it. And that means that you're increasing your risk of CVDs. And if you are taking less than 1.5 grams of this saturated fat by 100 grams, then of course you are taking it in moderation, and that wouldn't be injurious to your health. And when it comes to the trans fats, praise the Lord, if on the label it says 0 grams, that means that it doesn't contain trans fat. However, if in the ingredients section you see partially hydrogenated oil, now these types of oils actually contain some amount of trans fat. They may not necessarily indicate it on the label because they did not add it directly, but this particular ingredient that may be used in the food actually contains some amount of trans fats, as much as 0.5 grams per serving, and that should make you watch out for such products if you are concerned about your health, especially your cardiovascular health. So if you eat more than 1 serving, you could end up eating more or too much of the trans fats. Now let's look at the sodiums quickly. And the sodiums, when we talk about sodiums, we're talking about salt. Now, eating too much salt is linked to high blood pressure, which also can lead to heart disease, strokes, and kidney diseases. So if you're taking more than 1.5 grams of salt for every 100 grams of grams or 600 milligrams of sodium, then you are exceeding what you are supposed to take in as your moderate levels, and you are increasing your risk of these conditions aforementioned. But if you are taking 0.3 grams of salt, which is about 0.1 or 100 milligrams of unit in moderation. Now, interestingly, when we talk about sugar, we have 2 components of the sugar. We have the sugar that is naturally present in nutritious foods like milk, fruit juices, and co. And then we have the added sugar that may be added to the product. So the glucoses, the sucrose, the dextrins or dextrose are all added sugar that are also added. So when you, on the products, like I've circled, if you have, you see total sugars, it sometimes can be made up of the naturally existing sugar in the food, plus or minus added sugar. In this case, we do not have added sugar in the label that we have shown. However, should we have added sugar on the product, then that will mean that how to call it, an unnatural, not unnatural, like, you know, there's an added sugar that has been added, and it can be in the form, like I said, sucrose, dextrose, or in the form of sweetness that come in the form of table sugars, honey, and co that has been added. Now, immediately we exceed 7 grams of the added sugar, immediately we are taking more of food that it is counting into the amount of calories as against the what should come from the natural and the healthier portion or component of the food, and that becomes a worry to us. So for instance, when you look at these products, the total sugars is 15 grams. Added sugar is 7 grams. So that means that the naturally occurring sugar is 8 grams. And that's almost 50% of that. And that could be a bit high for this 1 serving of this product. Now, the other portion of the nutrients we call the nutrients to get more of, and these are the dietary fibers, the vitamins.
We have exceeded time. If you could be wrapping up for us, please.
All right. So the healthier ones like vitamin D, calcium, iron, and coal are actually helpful and promote our good health. And so when you buy food, you are interested in the ones that we need to take more. This daily value is the percentage of each nutrient in the serving of the food to be consumed, which or not to be exceeded. So that means that if you look at the column with the mauve color, that's where the daily values portions are. So when you take, for instance, the saturated fat in this products we are looking at, that is 4.5 grams. That means that if you take just 1 serving of it, you would have taken 23% of the entire day's saturated fat requirement. Okay, and so that means that you just have somewhere around 77% of saturated fat that you can take from other places. And if you took all the food products in the container, which is 23% times 4, then you are close to taking your entire saturated fat portion for the day. And that restricts you from taking other sources of saturated fat in the day, because if you do, then you will exceed it. And this makes this food product not so healthy for one's cardiovascular health or in preventing non-communicable diseases as well. So generally, we always say that if the food product contains 5% of the daily value or less, then we consider it to be low. And if it's more than 20%, then we consider the nutrient to be high. And so that is why it is very important that you pay attention to the daily value as well. Now, unfortunately, we don't have time. We'd have used one of these popular beverages on our market to quickly go see what we have learned. I'll skip this one. And so the recommendation here is that when you look at the total fat portion, like I said, generally it is important to choose foods with less than 10 grams of total fat per 100 grams of the product. And then when it comes to the saturated fat, it is important to aim for less than 3 grams per 100 gram of the product. When you talk about the sugars, okay, we always say that it's important to avoid products that come with large amount of added sugar. So if the sugar contains 15 grams, more than 15 grams per 100 gram of the product of added sugar, then that will not be healthy for your health, especially in preventing NCDs. And when it comes to sodium, we always say that your food shouldn't be more than 400 grams, 400 milligrams per 100 gram of that. It's even better, especially for people who are at a higher risk of cardiovascular disease like hypertensives, to buy packaged foods that contain less than 120 milligram per 100 gram of that. And it is so necessary because some of the salt or sodium components of the food are actually not the added salt. But if you look on this slide, the other names for the high salt ingredient like the baking powder, the garlic salt, the monosodiums, and all those things add on to the sodium to increase your risk of hypertension and other heart disease if you are consuming so much of them. Let me just quickly skip.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. We'll do well to take your slides and then share with participants so that they can abreast themselves with the lessons you wanted to share. We are doing well to stick by our time. It's 4 p.m. And so we are opening the floor once more if there are any further questions. If not, then we'll roll the curtains down. But we'll share with you the slides. Be sure about that. Please, are there any comments from participants? Do you have any comments, any questions? All right, then we'll move right ahead. Thank you so much for making the time to be here. We'll take our closing remarks and we'll take that from Kappa, Dr.
Yeah, hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Greetings to you all. In the name of CAPA, in fact, the Coalition of Actors for Public Health Advocacy are pleased to engage you on this very platform. It is an undisputable fact about how webinars such as these are able to contribute to awareness creation and projected impact of reducing the rate of NCDs. Some of us are researchers, and I know how profitable the various presentations have whet our appetite, you know, of what I best describe as professional curiosity. Yeah. I wish to state and request the Ghana NCDA Alliance to be regular on such activities like this. In fact, CAPA and the AG4HL team are proud to know about your good works of engaging stakeholders. We can also urge participants to connect with the Ghana NCDA Alliance so to be able to follow and benefit from programs alike. So bravo to all and others. Thanks for engaging us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isaac Gyamfi, for your thoughts. Please, we have closed, but I have also launched a final poll. Kindly fill the poll before you leave to help us plan the next one better and to serve you. So kindly fill the polls. They are up now. Kindly fill the polls before you leave. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Please fill the poll before you leave. Don't run away. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. 100% of all those who have responded are saying we should let you know when we are holding our next webinar. That means you were really impressed about this edition. Thank you so much for joining. We will notify you on our next webinar.
Thank you so much.